When I was a little girl, I used to lay on the floor at my grandma's house and play with her antique kaleidoscope, so I thought it would be really fun to make a quilt inspired by that. Hey guys, it's Misty. Welcome to At Home. I'm really looking forward to the project this week. Take a look at the quilt over on the design wall. This is what I'm calling Kaleidoscope. It's really fun, really modern, and really easy. And I think it would be beautiful in prints, but we've chosen to make it using solids today. So you're going to need 2 packs of layer cake squares. The first pack is this Paint Box Basics coordinates, and it's all these beautiful colors. And then the other pack we went with is the Not Quite White. It's this awesome neutral palette, anywhere from cream to true white, just so we have some variety in that background. I also went ahead and made a cutting diagram because we're going to cut all of our squares the exact same way. And so let's go ahead and show you how we're going to do that. I've got my layer cake square here. Remember, that measures 10 by 10. And then we're going to go ahead and cut all of these down. And the first cut we want to make is we're going to measure over 3 inches. And you could cut a few of these at a time if you wanted to. There's that first cut. We can pull that aside. And then from there, we're going to measure over 3 more inches. There we go. And then that leaves us a 4-inch piece on the other side. So that first strip that we made, we're just going to put that in a pile just like it is. We're not going to cut that down anymore right now. And then the second 3-inch strip that we have, we're going to cut that in half so that we have 2 3 by 5 rectangles. So I'm just going to lay my ruler on here and cut that in half. And then I'm just going to make a pile of those. Now our third strip, we're going to begin with, I'm going to go ahead and cut it to make it easy, turn it to make it easier on me. We're going to begin with a 4-inch square. Since this is 4 inches wide, we're going to cut it 4 by 4. So I have that first cut, and then the next 2 will be 4 by 3. So I'll just cut that in half like so. And then we're just going to add this to the piles that we have here. Now the fun part of this quilt is you can just take your stacks and we're just going to make, our single strip, our sets of 2, and our sets of 3. So I'm just going to grab a couple from my sets of 2. I'm going to go with this beautiful teal and one of my neutrals, and we're just going to sew these together. So remember, if you're using a print, you want to have your right sides together. And we're going to sew with a 1/4-inch seam. And we'll just make a bunch of sets of 2, just like so. Just give that a nice press. And then I've made a pile here of my 2 sets that you can see is growing. Then we're going to do the same thing with our sets of 3. But remember, we do have some variety in our sizing there. So let's just mix this up a bit. I'm going to go with one of these a little bit darker neutrals. And how about this blue? And so when you're playing with these, you can order them any way you want. You can put the 2 3-inch pieces together with the 4-inch square at the bottom. You can put the 4-inch square in the middle. However your heart desires, you can mix this up. And that's one of the fun things about this block is there's a lot of freedom to play with it and to put, the colors that you like, where you want them, as long as you're working in these rows. So I'm going to go ahead and sew these. And then I'm going to add the purple onto this side. And we can press these back. There we go. So now we have 3 strips that we've made. I'm going to pick a different color. What do I have in here? Let's do this kind of burgundy one, and we'll pull in the yellow. Actually, I'm even going to swap this out because I like the difference in this background color here. So that's why I like that we have so much variety. So I'm going to begin by just sewing this 3 set to my 1 set, 1 strip. I don't know what to call it, but 1, 2, 3, you get the idea. And you'll notice that this hangs over. I'm not worried about that. I'm going to square that up at the end. So I'm just lining up the bottom side. Oops. Better double check that because it was hanging down a little far. There we go. Now it's lined up. Now we'll sew 1/4 inch seam straight down the side. Now we can press that back. And we can add our other piece. So this is where you can decide, do I want this to go here? Do I want it to go here? Where do I want to put it? And I think I'm going to put it on this side. So I'm going to flip that around and I'm going to sew this direction. There we go. Now we can press that back. And all we have to do from this point is square this up to 9 inches. All of our blocks are going to be squared to 9. And so since I have a nice square corner, I like to put that down in the left-hand corner since I'm right-handed. I find that to be easier orientation, and I have my 10-inch square ruler here that I'm going to use to trim this up. So I'm just going to lay this so that it will trim up to 9 inches. And I'll cut off that and that. And there we have this awesome 9-inch block, and you can see I have a bunch more made. And I want to lay some of these out because I think it's really fun for you to see how different they all look, because it's hard to see the blocks themselves when it's in the quilt because they all come together to make this beautiful kaleidoscope effect. So let's go ahead and lay a few of these out here so you can see. And I want to point out to you, every single time we still have the 1, the 2, and the 3 sets in each of these blocks, but they look so different. 1, 2, 3. And once you know that, you can spot it in the quilt behind me. But you can see how there's so much freedom and movement in this, and you can orient them any way you want. And if you go to the quilt, let's go ahead and go over here. You'll notice that it is 7 by 9, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 across, 9 down. And let's go ahead and sit a block in here. Let me grab one of these so you can actually see it. Like I said, it kind of disappears, but here is our block. It just sits in just like so and works all the way across the quilt. I love this beautiful quilting pattern. I think this is a really fun quilt for a boy's room. I know my sons would love it. And another fun thing that you should note is we didn't use all the blocks. There's blocks left over, and I have a fun little thing that I'm excited to share with you, a little bonus. So here's what we did with our extra squares. Isn't that so fun? This is still a great quilt. It ends up 59 by 76. It's a wonderful cozy up and watch a movie size, and you could make it bigger if you wanted. There's plenty of fabric with those 2-layer cakes. So lots of options. The quilting is called Circles and Lines, and I hope you enjoyed this video on the Kaleidoscope quilt. Hey everyone, it's Misty. Thanks for watching at home. If you aren't already a part of our Missouri Star family, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell if you want a notification every time we release a new video. I'll see you next Monday on the newest episode of At Home.